Have you ever found yourself lying awake at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, wrestling with questions that seem to have no answers? Questions like, why am I here? Or, what's the point of all this struggle? Or perhaps the one that cuts deepest of all, is this really all there is? If you're nodding along, feeling that familiar ache in your chest that comes with these midnight contemplations, then you're not alone. In fact, you're part of a vast human family that has been asking these same questions for thousands of years. There's something profoundly isolating about our modern world, isn't there? We're more connected than ever through technology, yet somehow we feel more disconnected from purpose, from meaning, from the very essence of who we are. We scroll through social media feeds filled with highlight reels of other people's lives, wondering why our own journey feels so difficult, so confusing, so seemingly random. We chase success, relationships, experiences, material possessions, thinking that maybe the next achievement or acquisition will finally fill that inexplicable emptiness that gnaws at us from within. But what if I told you that emptiness isn't a flaw in your design? What if that restless searching, that persistent feeling that you're meant for something more, that nagging sense that life has deeper meaning than what meets the eye, what if all of that is actually your soul trying to communicate with you? What if every challenge you've faced, every heartbreak you've endured, every moment of inexplicable joy or profound connection you've experienced is part of a much larger story, your soul's story? I want to share something with you that has the power to completely transform how you see yourself, your struggles, and your purpose. It's not a quick fix or a magical solution, but rather a profound understanding that has brought comfort, clarity, and direction to millions of people over the past century. This understanding comes from the remarkable teachings of Edgar Cayce, often called the sleeping prophet, a man who spent his life bridging the gap between the physical world we can see and touch and the spiritual realm that our souls call home. Edgar Cayce wasn't a guru sitting in a cave somewhere, removed from the struggles of ordinary life. He was a simple man from Kentucky who discovered he could access profound wisdom about the nature of the soul while in a trance-like state. For over 4 decades, he gave thousands of readings that revealed the intricate workings of our soul's journeys through multiple lifetimes, the purpose behind our earthly experiences, and the ultimate destination we're all heading toward. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Reincarnation? Past lives? That sounds pretty far-fetched, and I understand that skepticism. I really do. We live in a world that values proof, scientific evidence, things we can measure and quantify. But here's the beautiful thing about Cayce's teachings. They don't ask you to abandon your intellect or ignore your rational mind. Instead, they invite you to expand your understanding, to consider the possibility that reality might be far more vast and interconnected than we've been led to believe. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever met someone for the first time and felt an inexplicable connection, as if you'd known them forever? Have you ever visited a place you'd never been before and felt an overwhelming sense of familiarity, like coming home? Have you ever found yourself naturally gifted at something you'd never been taught, or felt drawn to a particular time period in history, or experienced an irrational fear or phobia that seems to have no basis in your current life experiences? These aren't random quirks of personality or mere coincidences. According to Cayce's teachings, they're glimpses into the vast tapestry of your soul's journey, evidence of experiences, relationships, and lessons that span far beyond your current lifetime. Your soul has been on an incredible adventure, learning, growing, evolving through countless experiences, and every single challenge you face today is connected to this larger pattern of development. But here's what makes this understanding so powerful and comforting. It means that nothing in your life is meaningless. Every struggle has purpose. Every relationship serves your growth. Every obstacle is an opportunity for your soul to evolve. That difficult person at work who pushes all your buttons, they might be offering you a chance to develop patience and compassion. That recurring pattern in your relationships that frustrates you so much, it could be your soul's way of presenting you with a lesson you need to master. That persistent dream or calling you feel, but have been afraid to pursue, it might be your soul remembering its purpose and trying to guide you toward it. This doesn't mean that life becomes easy once you understand these principles. The challenges don't disappear, and the growth process can still be uncomfortable. But what changes, and this is profound, is your relationship with those challenges. Instead of feeling like a victim of random circumstances, you begin to see yourself as a soul on a purposeful journey. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You start asking, what is this here to teach me? Instead of feeling isolated in your struggles, you recognize that you're part of a grand cosmic dance of souls, all learning, all growing, all supporting each other's evolution. Cayce taught that our ultimate destination as souls is to return to our divine source while maintaining our individual consciousness, to become co-creators with the divine, fully awakened to our true nature, while still able to serve and love in the physical world. This isn't about escaping earthly life or transcending human experience, but about bringing heaven to earth, about learning to love so completely and unconditionally that we transform everything we touch. The most beautiful aspect of this teaching is how it reveals that every single person you encounter is also on this same journey. Your family members, your friends, your co-workers, even strangers on the street, they're all souls having their own experiences, facing their own lessons, working toward their own awakening. This understanding naturally cultivates compassion, patience, and forgiveness because you recognize that we're all doing the best we can with where we are in our soul's development. As we embark on this exploration together, I want you to know that this isn't just an intellectual exercise. This is about your life, your pain, your joy, your purpose, your relationships, your dreams. This is about understanding why you are the way you are, why you've experienced what you've experienced, and most importantly, where you're headed and how you can align with your soul's deepest purpose. If what I'm sharing resonates with something deep within you, if it stirs recognition in your heart or offers a new perspective on questions you've been carrying, then I invite you to join our growing community of souls who are committed to understanding and living these profound truths. By subscribing to our channel, you're not just signing up for more content, you're joining a family of seekers who support each other's growth and understanding. Together, we can explore these teachings more deeply, share our experiences, and help each other navigate this beautiful, challenging, transformative journey of the soul. Because ultimately, that's what this is all about. Remembering that you're not alone, that your life has meaning, and that every step of your journey, even the difficult ones, are leading you home to who you truly are. There's something I need to tell you, something that might change how you see every pain you've ever carried, every inexplicable fear that has haunted your nights, and every profound connection that has taken your breath away. It's about the magnificent eternal being that you truly are. Not just this body, not just this personality, not just this one lifetime you're living right now, but the vast, ancient soul that has been journeying through existence for eons, collecting experiences like precious gems, learning lessons that span centuries, and evolving toward something so beautiful it would make you weep with recognition if you could glimpse it fully. I know this might sound overwhelming, maybe even impossible to believe. We've been taught to see ourselves as these fragile, temporary beings, born, living for a few decades, then disappearing into nothing. But what if I told you that this limited view of yourself is like looking at an iceberg and thinking you're seeing the whole thing, when in reality, the vast majority of who you are exists beneath the surface, invisible but infinitely real? What if every cell in your body, every thought that crosses your mind, every emotion that moves through your heart is connected to a story so much larger than this single lifetime that it would take your breath away? Edgar Cayce, that remarkable man who could peer beyond the veil of ordinary consciousness, saw something that most of us have forgotten. Your soul is on an incredible journey, and this life you're living right now is just one chapter in an epic novel that spans multiple lifetimes, multiple bodies, multiple experiences across the vast tapestry of time. Every challenge you're facing, every relationship that has shaped you, every talent that seems to come naturally, every fear that seems irrational, all of it is connected to this larger story of your soul's evolution. I want you to think about someone who has hurt you deeply, someone whose actions still sting when you remember them. Now, I'm not going to tell you to simply forgive and forget. That would be both naive and dismissive of your very real pain. But what if I told you that this person, this source of your suffering, might actually be one of your soul's greatest teachers? What if, before you both came into this lifetime, your souls made an agreement, a sacred contract, where they would play the role of the antagonist in your story so that you could learn something essential about forgiveness, or strength, or compassion? This isn't about excusing harmful behavior or minimizing your pain. Your emotions are valid, your hurt is real, and you have every right to protect yourself from harm. But understanding the soul's perspective can transform your relationship with that pain. Instead of being a victim of random cruelty, you become a soul who chose to experience certain challenges because they would catalyze your growth in ways that no amount of comfort or ease ever could. Think about the patterns in your life, those recurring themes that seem to follow you no matter where you go or how hard you try to escape them. Maybe it's a pattern of attracting partners who are emotionally unavailable. Maybe it's a tendency to sabotage yourself just when success is within reach. Maybe it's a deep-seated fear of abandonment that colors all your relationships, or a compulsive need to please others at the expense of your own needs. These patterns aren't random quirks of personality or unfortunate coincidences. They're the soul's way of presenting you with lessons you need to master, opportunities for growth that you'll keep encountering in different forms until you've learned what you came here to learn. I remember once feeling so frustrated with a particular pattern in my own life that I wanted to scream. No matter what I did, no matter how aware I became, I kept attracting the same type of situation over and over again. It felt like being trapped in some cosmic joke where the universe was laughing at my attempts to grow and change. But then I began to understand what Cayce taught about karma, not as punishment, but as the soul's perfect education educational system. Every repeated pattern, every recurring challenge, every situation that triggers our deepest wounds is actually our soul's curriculum, designed specifically for our evolution. Karma isn't some harsh judge keeping score of our mistakes and ensuring we suffer for them. It's more like a loving teacher who keeps presenting us with the same math problem until we finally understand how to solve it. And just like that math problem, once we truly learn the lesson, not just intellectually, but in the depths of our being, we don't need to repeat it anymore. The pattern dissolves because we've integrated the wisdom it was meant to teach us. But here's what makes this understanding so profound and life-changing. It means that nothing you've experienced has been wasted. Every heartbreak has cracked your heart open to greater compassion. Every betrayal has taught you to trust your intuition more deeply. Every loss has shown you what truly matters. Every moment of despair has revealed hidden reserves of strength you never knew you possessed. Your soul has been orchestrating all of it, not to punish you, but to help you become who you were always meant to be. And what about those inexplicable connections? Those moments when you meet someone and feel like you've known them forever. Those aren't accidents either. According to Cayce's teachings, we travel through lifetimes with the same group of souls, playing different roles in each other's stories. The person who is your child in this lifetime might have been your parent in another. The friend who understands you better than anyone might have been your spouse in a previous existence. The mentor who appears at just the right moment might be fulfilling a promise made between lifetimes to help guide you when you needed it most. This understanding can transform how you see every relationship in your life. That difficult family member isn't just someone you're stuck with because of genetics. They're a soul who chose to be in your life to help you learn something important. That friend who always pushes your buttons might be reflecting back aspects of yourself that you need to acknowledge and integrate. That teacher or mentor who believes in you when you can't believe in yourself might be a soulmate from countless lifetimes, committed to supporting your growth across time. Sometimes people ask me if understanding past lives means we should dig into every detail of our previous incarnations, trying to uncover who we were and what we did. But Cayce taught something beautiful about this. What matters most isn't the specific details of past lives, but the patterns and lessons they reveal. Your current life is like a summary of all your previous experiences. Every challenge you face, every strength you possess, every weakness you struggle with is connected to the accumulated wisdom and unfinished business of your soul's journey. Think about your natural talents and abilities. Maybe you've always been drawn to music and can pick up instruments easily. Maybe you have an intuitive understanding of healing or an uncanny ability to comfort others in pain. Maybe you're naturally good with numbers or have an eye for beauty or possess an almost supernatural ability to work with animals. These aren't random gifts distributed by some cosmic lottery. They're skills and wisdom your soul has developed over lifetimes of experience and practice. And what about your fears and limitations? That claustrophobia that seems to have no basis in your current life experiences. That inexplicable terror of drowning even though nothing traumatic involving water has ever happened to you. That panic that arises when you're in certain situations or around certain types of people. These too are echoes from your soul's history, opportunities for healing and integration that your soul has brought into this lifetime. But here's the most beautiful part of understanding soul evolution. It reveals that every single experience, whether pleasant or painful, is moving you toward the same destination. Your soul is evolving toward a state of perfect love, perfect wisdom, perfect compassion. Every lifetime, every experience, every relationship is designed to help you remove the barriers to expressing your true divine nature. You're not trying to become something foreign to yourself. You're trying to remember and embody what you've always been beneath the layers of forgetfulness and fear. This journey isn't linear or predictable. Sometimes your soul chooses lifetimes of great challenge and hardship because those experiences will catalyze rapid growth. Sometimes it chooses lifetimes of relative ease and joy because those experiences will help integrate previous learning and provide opportunities to serve others. Sometimes your soul comes in with specific missions to be a healer, a teacher, a bridge builder, a revolutionary who challenges unjust systems. The key is understanding that your soul knew what it was signing up for when it chose this lifetime. Every major challenge you would face, every significant relationship you would have, every opportunity for growth and service, it was all part of the plan your soul made before incarnating. This doesn't mean everything is predetermined or that you don't have free will. Quite the opposite. Your soul chose certain circumstances and relationships as the backdrop for your growth, but how you respond to those circumstances is entirely up to you. That's where your evolution happens, in the choices you make moment by moment, day by day. And this brings me to perhaps the most liberating aspect of understanding reincarnation and soul evolution. It means you have all the time you need. This isn't your only chance to get it right, to heal old wounds, to develop the qualities you admire, to contribute meaningfully to the world. The pressure is off. You can relax into the process of growth, knowing that whatever you don't complete in this lifetime, you'll have other opportunities to address. This doesn't promote complacency, quite the opposite. When you truly understand that your soul is eternal and always evolving, you become more motivated to make the most of this precious incarnation, not less. If this understanding stirs something deep within you, if it offers a new way of seeing your life's challenges and relationships, then you're beginning to remember something your soul has always known. You're part of an incredible cosmic dance of consciousness, eternally learning, eternally growing, eternally becoming more loving versions of yourself. And perhaps, if this resonates with you, you'd like to continue exploring these profound truths with others who are on similar journeys of remembering and awakening. There's so much more to discover about your soul's magnificent story, and sometimes the most beautiful part of the journey is sharing it with fellow travelers who understand the terrain of the heart and the endless possibilities of the spirit. There's a secret I want to share with you, something that might explain why you've always felt different, why you've carried this inexplicable longing in your heart, why sometimes when you look up at the stars or witness a moment of profound beauty, you feel this overwhelming sense of homesickness for a place you can't quite remember. It's about who you really are beneath all the roles you play, beneath all the identities you've collected, beneath all the stories you tell yourself about your limitations and failures. You are not who you think you are. You are so much more magnificent than you've ever dared to imagine. I know you've felt it, that stirring deep inside when you encounter something sacred, that catch in your breath when you witness an act of pure love, that moment when time seems to stop and you feel connected to something infinitely vast and beautiful. Maybe it happened when you held a newborn baby and felt the miracle of life pulsing in your hands. Maybe it was when you watched a sunrise paint the sky in impossible colors and felt your heart expand beyond the boundaries of your chest. Maybe it was in a moment of deep prayer or meditation when the walls between you and the divine seemed to dissolve completely, leaving you floating in an ocean of pure love. These weren't random experiences or flights of imagination. They were moments when your soul remembered its true nature, when the thin veil between the physical world and your spiritual essence became transparent, revealing what Edgar Cayce knew to be the most fundamental truth about your existence. You are a divine being having a human experience, not the other way around. You are a fragment of the infinite creator, sent into physical form not as punishment or exile, but as the ultimate expression of divine love. Love so profound that it chose to experience itself through countless forms, countless lives, countless expressions of beauty and creativity and growth. But somewhere along the way, we forgot. The weight of human existence, with all its pain and struggle and confusion, made us forget our divine origins. We began to identify with our wounds instead of our wholeness, with our fears instead of our power, with our limitations instead of our infinite potential. We started believing that we were separate from each other, separate from nature, separate from the source of all life. We forgot that every breath we take is a gift from the divine, every heartbeat a reminder of our connection to the cosmic pulse that moves through all existence. And yet even in our forgetting, the truth of who we are never really disappeared. It lives in that restless longing you've always carried, that sense that you're meant for something more than just surviving from day to day. It whispers to you in moments of quiet contemplation, urges you toward experiences that feed your soul rather than just your ego. It shows up in your inexplicable desire to help others, to create beauty, to make the world a little more loving than you found it. Cayce taught that your soul's ultimate purpose isn't just to evolve and grow through multiple lifetimes, though that's certainly part of the journey. Your deepest purpose is to become a conscious co-creator with the divine, to learn to channel divine love and wisdom through your human form so perfectly that heaven and earth merge in your very being. This isn't about transcending your humanity, it's about sanctifying it, about bringing the sacred into every mundane moment, about becoming a clear channel through which divine love can flow into the world. Think about the moments when you felt most alive, most authentic, most connected to your deeper purpose. I'm willing to bet they weren't moments when you were accumulating things or achieving status or proving your worth to others. They were moments when you were expressing love, maybe comforting a friend in crisis, creating something beautiful, standing up for someone who couldn't defend themselves, or simply being fully present with another human being in their joy or pain. These moments of pure expression weren't accidents. They were glimpses of your soul fulfilling its divine purpose, moments when you remembered what you came here to do. But I know it's not always easy to maintain that connection to your divine nature. The world seems designed to make us forget, doesn't it? The constant pressure to conform, to compete, to accumulate, to prove our worth through external achievements. All of it pulls us away from the quiet voice of the soul that whispers reminders of our true purpose. We get caught up in the drama of human existence and lose sight of the sacred play we're participating in. We start believing that our problems are permanent, our limitations are fixed, our circumstances define our possibilities. This is where the practice of conscious connection becomes not just helpful but essential. Prayer, meditation, contemplation, service to others. These aren't religious obligations or spiritual luxuries. They're practical tools for remembering who you are and why you're here. They're ways of tuning into the divine frequency that's always broadcasting, always available, always ready to guide and support and love you unconditionally. When you sit in quiet prayer or meditation, you're not trying to reach some distant deity who might or might not be listening. You're connecting with the divine presence that lives within you. That is the very essence of who you are. You're remembering the truth that there is no separation between you and the source of all life. Every breath you take draws in divine essence. Every beat of your heart pumps sacred life force through your being. Every thought of love or compassion or wonder is the divine thinking through you. And here's something beautiful about this understanding. It means that every choice you make, every moment of your life, becomes an opportunity to express your divine nature. You don't have to wait until you're more evolved or more spiritual or have figured everything out. Right now, in this very moment, you can choose to let divine love flow through you. Right now, you can choose to see the sacred in the ordinary, to respond with compassion instead of judgment, to create rather than destroy, to unite rather than divide. But this isn't about perfection or never making mistakes or always being loving and wise. Your soul knew that coming into human form would involve challenges, failures, moments of forgetfulness and confusion. These aren't bugs in the system, they're features. They're opportunities for your divine nature to practice expressing itself through the limitations and complications of physical existence. Every time you choose love over fear, forgiveness over resentment, truth over deception, you're fulfilling your soul's purpose. Every time you fail and then choose to try again, you're demonstrating the persistence and resilience of divine love. The role of free will in this process is profound and beautiful. Your soul chose to come into physical existence knowing that it would have the freedom to choose moment by moment how to express its divine nature. No one is forcing you to evolve. No one is demanding that you remember your true purpose. The invitation is always there, but the choice is always yours. This is what makes every act of love, every moment of compassion, every choice for growth and service so precious and powerful. It's freely given, freely chosen, a voluntary expression of your divine nature. And yet, even when you choose something other than love, even when you act from fear or anger or confusion, you're still expressing your divine nature. How is that possible? Because the divine includes everything, encompasses all possibilities, loves you unconditionally, whether you're remembering your true nature or completely caught up in the illusion of separation. Your mistakes don't diminish your divinity. They're simply part of the human experience you came here to have, opportunities for deeper understanding and greater compassion. Sometimes people worry that if they truly accept their divine nature, they'll become arrogant or disconnected from others. But the opposite is true. The more deeply you understand your own divine essence, the more clearly you recognize it in everyone else. You can't help but see the sacred spark in every person you encounter, even those who seem lost or broken or hostile. You begin to understand that their behavior comes from forgetting their true nature, just as yours sometimes does. This recognition naturally generates compassion, patience, and a desire to help others remember who they truly are. Service to others becomes not an obligation but a joy, not a sacrifice, but a celebration. When you truly understand that there is only one divine consciousness expressing itself through billions of forms, helping others becomes a way of helping yourself. Loving others becomes a way of loving the divine. Serving others becomes a way of serving the highest purpose of existence itself. The boundaries between self and other, between personal growth and service to the world, begin to dissolve. This understanding also transforms your relationship with suffering and challenge. Instead of seeing difficulties as evidence that you're separated from divine love, you begin to understand them as opportunities for your divine nature to express itself more fully. Every challenge becomes a chance to practice patience. Every conflict a chance to choose understanding over judgment. Every loss a chance to trust in the larger wisdom of your soul's journey. But perhaps most beautiful of all, this understanding reveals that your ordinary life, your daily activities, your simple human moments of connection and creativity and wonder are all sacred expressions of divine love. You don't have to retreat from the world to connect with the divine. You connect with the divine by fully engaging with the world from a place of love and awareness. Every conversation becomes a prayer. Every act of kindness becomes a sacrament. Every moment of beauty becomes a reminder of your true home. The homesickness you've always felt isn't for a place you left behind. It's for a state of consciousness you're moving toward. discord. It's your soul remembering its destiny to become fully awake in physical form, to express divine love so completely that earth becomes heaven, time becomes eternity, separation becomes unity. And every step you take on this journey, every moment you choose love over fear, every time you remember your true nature, you're not just healing yourself, you're helping to heal the world. If these words stir something deep within you, if they remind you of truths your heart has always known, then perhaps you're ready to explore more deeply what it means to live as a divine being in human form. Perhaps you're ready to join others who are on this same journey of remembering, awakening, and expressing their true nature in service to the healing of the world. Because ultimately, that's what this is all about. Not just personal enlightenment, but collective transformation. Not just individual awakening, but the awakening of humanity to its divine nature and purpose. Here we are, you and I, at the end of what might feel like a long conversation, but what I hope has been more like a gentle awakening, a stirring of memories that your soul has been waiting for you to remember. Perhaps as you've been reading, something deep inside you has been nodding along, whispering, yes, this is true, even as your rational mind might have been raising questions or doubts. That tension between knowing and questioning, between soul recognition and mental resistance, is exactly where the real work begins. Not in some distant future when you figured everything out, but right here, right now, in the beautiful mess of your ordinary, extraordinary human life. I want to tell you something that might surprise you. You don't need to wait until you understand everything to start living from this deeper truth. You don't need to master meditation or decode all your dreams or heal every wound before you can begin expressing your soul's purpose in the world. The integration of these profound teachings isn't something that happens in some perfect tomorrow. It happens in the small moments, the daily choices, the quiet decisions you make when no one else is watching. This morning, did you wake up and even for just a moment remember that you are more than your to-do list, more than your problems, more than the roles you play? Did you pause, even briefly, to feel gratitude for the miracle of consciousness flowing through your being? If you did, then you were already practicing integration. If you didn't, that's okay too. There's no judgment here, only invitation, only the gentle reminder that every moment offers a new opportunity to remember who you truly are. The beautiful thing about Edgar Cayce's teachings is that they don't require you to abandon your life and retreat to a mountaintop. They ask something far more challenging and far more meaningful. They ask you to bring the sacred into the mundane, to find the divine in the ordinary, to transform your daily existence into a living prayer, a walking meditation, a conscious dance with the infinite. That difficult conversation you've been avoiding with a family member, it's an opportunity to practice speaking your truth with love. That work situation that drains your energy, it's a chance to explore how you can maintain your spiritual center even in challenging environments. That pattern of self-sabotage you keep repeating, it's your soul presenting you with a lesson in self-compassion and conscious choice-making. But let's be honest about something. This path isn't always easy or comfortable. In fact, once you begin to awaken to your true nature and purpose, life can initially feel more challenging, not less. You might find yourself unable to tolerate situations or relationships that no longer align with your evolving consciousness. You might feel lonely as you change and grow, wondering if anyone else shares this deeper understanding of life. You might struggle with the gap between the truth you now recognize and the way the world often operates. I remember going through a period where I felt like I was living in two worlds simultaneously, the world of spiritual truth that felt real and meaningful, and the everyday world that seemed increasingly shallow and disconnected. It was isolating and confusing, this sense of being awake in a world that often seemed to be sleepwalking through existence. But gradually, I began to understand that this discomfort wasn't a sign that I was doing something wrong. It was a sign that I was growing, expanding, evolving into a larger version of myself. The key was learning to bridge those two worlds, to find ways to honor my spiritual understanding while still engaging fully with human life. Meditation became not an escape from daily reality but a preparation for it, a way of centering myself so I could bring more presence and compassion to every interaction. Prayer became not just formal words recited at designated times, but an ongoing conversation with the divine that colored every activity with sacred meaning. Dream work opened up an entirely new dimension of guidance and insight. Each night became an opportunity to receive messages from my deeper self, to work through challenges on a soul level, to connect with the wisdom that's always available but often drowned out by the noise of daily life. I learned to keep a journal by my bedside, to honor the symbols and stories that emerged from my unconscious mind, to treat my dreams as letters from my soul, guiding me toward greater wholeness and understanding, and holistic healing. Oh, what a revelation that was. Discovering that every physical symptom might carry an emotional or spiritual message, that my body was constantly communicating with me about the state of my soul, that healing could happen on multiple levels simultaneously. This wasn't about rejecting medical care, but about expanding my understanding of what it means to be truly healthy, not just physically sound, but emotionally balanced, spiritually aligned, mentally clear. But perhaps the most profound shift came when I began to understand that service to others wasn't something I needed to add to my life. It was the natural expression of living from my soul's truth. When you truly recognize the divine spark in yourself, you can't help but see it in everyone else. Compassion becomes not a virtue you practice, but a natural response to the interconnectedness of all life. Helping others isn't a burden or obligation, but a joy, a celebration of the oneness that underlies all apparent separation. This doesn't mean becoming a doormat or ignoring your own needs. In fact, the opposite is true. The more aligned you become with your soul's purpose, the clearer you become about healthy boundaries, about when to say yes and when to say no, about how to give from a place of overflow rather than depletion. You learn to distinguish between serving others from love and serving others from guilt or fear, or the need for approval. The ultimate goal of this journey isn't to become perfect or enlightened or to transcend human existence altogether. It's to become fully human and fully divine simultaneously, to maintain your unique individuality while recognizing your essential unity with all life. It's to become a conscious participant in the grand evolution of consciousness itself, contributing your unique gifts and perspective to the collective awakening of humanity. And here's what I've come to understand about that evolution. It happens one person at a time, one choice at a time, one moment of consciousness at a time. Every time you choose love over fear, every time you respond with compassion instead of judgment, every time you remember your divine nature and act from that remembering, you're not just healing yourself, you're contributing to the healing of the collective human soul. Your personal awakening ripples out in ways you may never fully comprehend. The patience you practice with your difficult teenager might inspire them to be kinder to their classmates. The forgiveness you extend to someone who hurt you might free them to make different choices in the future. The creative project you birth from your soul's inspiration might touch hearts and minds in ways that create lasting positive change in the world. This is the practical application of everything we've discussed, recognizing that your ordinary life is actually extraordinarily meaningful, that your daily choices matter not just to you, but to the entire web of existence of which you are an integral part. You don't need to do anything dramatic or world-changing to fulfill your soul's purpose. You need only to live authentically, love generously, and remain open to the guidance that's always flowing from your deeper wisdom. The methods for staying connected to this truth are as varied as there are souls seeking connection. For some, it's daily meditation or prayer. For others, it's time in nature or creative expression or service to those in need. For many, it's a combination of practices that evolve and change as their understanding deepens. The key is not finding the perfect practice, but finding what genuinely opens your heart and quiets your mind, what helps you remember your true nature and stay connected to your soul's guidance. And please be gentle with yourself as you navigate this path. There will be days when you forget everything you've learned, when you react from old patterns, when you feel disconnected from any sense of higher purpose. These aren't failures, they're part of the human experience, opportunities for greater self-compassion and deeper commitment to your growth. Your soul isn't keeping score of your spiritual performance. It's simply loving you unconditionally and gently guiding you home to yourself again and again. As we reach this moment of completion, this pause before you close this conversation and return to the flow of your daily life, I want you to know that something has already changed within you, simply by opening your heart and mind to these truths. The seed of remembering has been planted or watered or given more light to grow. Trust that it will unfold in perfect timing, in ways that serve your highest good and the highest good of all. If these words have stirred something within you, if they've reminded you of truths your soul has always known, perhaps you'd like to continue this exploration with others who are walking similar paths of awakening and integration. There's something beautiful about sharing this journey with fellow travelers who understand the territory of the heart and the endless adventure of consciousness, discovering itself through infinite expressions of love and creativity and service to the world. We're all here to heal and transform together.